Wintertodt has been updated, and while the update itself is pretty solid, it's left me with a little bit of mixed feelings. Not just because of the update in isolation, the Wintertodt itself, but more as a whole Wintertodt and Firemaking in general. So we're going to dive a little bit into these changes, but more importantly, we're going to explore a little bit more where Wintertodt and Firemaking could go from here. First off, the update itself. Wintertodt has been buffed across the board, and the biggest change? Your HP has been replaced by a warmth meter. That's right, you're no longer taking HP damage, you're taking warmth damage instead. When you hit 0 warmth though, you're done. That means we can still laugh at hardcores who lose their status here, and that's still going to happen. It's the most abundant place probably hardcores lose their status. There are some big impacts related to this warmth meter though. First off, you no longer need like baby HP levels to come here. Previously the meta was come here when you have really low HP because it's going to reduce the amount of damage you take. You can use cheap foods like cake, and that was just the best thing you can do. That's not really required anymore. You can now enjoy Wintertodt, and I use enjoy very loosely, at any level without having to worry about your if points at all. Food, it's not really necessary anymore. You either don't take warmth damage or enough of it, like in my case with the HP cape and the regen bracelet, but probably even with just one of those, you're more or less fine. And even if you do take damage because you don't have that gear, you don't have the warm clothing that you need, you can now make potions in here using these pots here combined with these herbs here. If you do that, you'll end up with this pot here that has 4 doses. Each dose here heals you 30%, so you're getting 120% healing just from one potion. So this is better than cakes. So Ironman, you no longer need to thieve a bunch of cakes in order to heal yourself. You can now use these because these are strictly better. On top of that, you can use these on the pyromancers here. Just left click the pyromancers when they take damage. It's worth it. It uses 1 dose and you get 75 points for doing that, which is a lot of points. That's equal to 3 chopped and fletched logs. So a lot of the times the brazier will break. You spam click him to heal, fix the brazier, and then light the brazier. Right there, that's 75, 25, 25 points. That's 125 points you get for those actions right there. So definitely recommend you're carrying a bunch of these in your inventory. And the last big change with this warmth meter is at the end of every round, you're getting 100% warmth back. Before, when you used to take HP damage, you weren't getting HP back. So you have to go eat a bunch of food, or you'd have to go to the POH, heal, and then come back and get here back in time. It was a lot more actions to do that as well. Now you're getting a free heal after every game, so you can quite literally just chill in Wintertodt. And now for everyone's least favorite mechanic, I believe, the interruptions. You'll be fletching 1 kindling before, and you would get messaged, the cold seeps in your bones, the cold seeps in your bones, the cold seeps in your bones, just constant seeping into your bones that you were seething out of your teeth. Luckily, it's not as annoying as it used to be, okay? It's still annoying, but you should be able to fletch more. There are going to be cases where you're fletching like your entire inventory without getting interrupted. That being said, there's still cases where you'll do like 2 and you'll get interrupted. I wish they made it a little bit more lenient, a little bit more in the middle where you can maybe get like more consistently 7 or 8 fletches at a time, but it's an improvement. There's always one thing that bothered me with this mechanic though. It's the fact that the audio and the visual cue in game don't actually line up with the actual interruption. You'll get interrupted and you'll stop fletching, but then you won't get those cues until like 3 seconds later. You'll have to look at this plugin here, which actually shows you when you go idle. That's the best way, but I wish they would improve it so that the audio and visual cue were more actually tied to the timing I stopped fletching or stopped doing my action. Now onto a change I actually really love. That's the reward pool. They got rid of the crates with Wintertodt. They're not a discontinued item though. You could still hand in extra items here for crates, so that's still there. But what's nice about this system is that you can get a bunch of points, come here, and then start searching for your rewards like this. Very similar system to Temporos and Guardians of the Rift, so we're familiar with it. But it's really nice here at Wintertodt because now instead of having to leave after every game to deposit your crates or your loot, you can now just stay inside of Wintertodt here and gather as many points as possible. That is just the epitome of RuneScape players, is try to do as little actions as you can to gain the rewards that you want. Combine this with the fact that your HP, your warmth is resetting after every single KC. You never need to leave this area. So you can just sit here pretty much in this one spot over here. I'm definitely more of an east side gang, of course, and never leave. It's truly the dream. We got a few more rewards left. We're going to do some big searches. I want to get the pet so that I can get 99 and leave. Let's see. Big Search just feels pretty good, but you kind of fire through this pretty quickly. Oh, Tome of Fire version 2. It's my second one. In terms of actually doing Wintertodt, you still have 3 methods you can do. The first one is, of course, the mass world. You come to the mass world, you hang out here, you probably turn off your public chat if the chat's being obnoxious, and you can turn on entity hider as well to hide the other players if it's very crowded for you. But yeah, you just do your standard method. Not much has changed here other than the obvious buffs. The method that has changed a bit is a solo method. The points are uncapped now, so you can stay in there until your nerd log, that's 6 hours, and potentially get like 400 points. I think I've seen somebody get in 6 hours, which is really good. The Pyromancer I mentioned before gives you 75 points when you heal. So in a solo, you can make a bunch of potions and just get a ton of points from healing the Pyromancer every time they take damage. It's a good method. Might be hard to find a world now. You might get crashed as well. The last method that I tend to do a good amount is the World Hop method. For those restless homies who can't stay in one world and want to optimize their points a little bit more, you want to download the Wintertodt Scouter plugin. This plugin is going to show you Wintertodt's health in every single world. What you're going to do is you're going to do a game, complete it, and you're going to get your 500 points plus, so you get your rewards. Once you're done, did I get rewards there? Yay, I did. Once you're done, you're going to find another world that's around 60 to 70, 75% health, and you're going to hop to that world. So if I were to do that right now, I'm going to hop to this world. And the benefit of this is I'm skipping the timer in the beginning that, you got to wait a minute, and you're getting right into a game. So I'm going to do this, get my 500 points, and then jump to the next world. Sometimes the worlds are a little bit awkward in terms of their HP, so you might want to jump to one that's like, just starting or like at 90%, that's fine. You kind of want to avoid worlds that are 50% or lower because it's going to be hard to get the minimum contribution needed. Okay, so we're just wrapping up this game that I hopped to, and you can see here, I got 3 reward points again, which is great. This method is pretty good points. I think I was getting about 50 points an hour doing this, which feels better than the mass. Not sure it's as good as solo, but it's a little less committal. That's it for the changes, and as we can see, it's all positive across the board, but I still have this feeling inside of me, and I want to explain what it is. If we dial back the clock about 3 years or so, Wintertodt was part of pretty much any meta you can find. Nowadays, though, we have so many great options to choose from early that are, in my opinion, probably better. We've got Tempuros, we've got Guardians of the Rift, we've got Hunter contracts now with Varlamore. So even though Wintertodt has been buffed, it's less relevant than it's ever been, especially now that you don't have the pressure to come here when you're low HP. Its rewards are also like significantly worse than those 3 other options I mentioned. So yes, in a bubble, Wintertodt is better now, definitely. But in the grand scheme of RuneScape, it's only gotten less relevant over time. So what's the point of leveling Firemaking? Outside of needing it for artificial purposes or one-time uses like clues and the fires from making friends with my arm, there's not really any purpose to this skill. I thought of one singular use case, one reason why you'd level up this skill, okay? It would be for doing Shades of Morton. Shades of Morton is a repeatable content you can do until you greenlog, or for clues where you're rewarded from having higher firemaking levels, right? The higher the firemaking level, the better shades you can burn. This is good. We need more stuff like this, okay? What it's boiled down to, this skill, is training methods, okay? You've got lighting logs, you got Wintertodt, and now more recently, you have these bonfires. Bonfires are actually a pretty chill way to level up the skill, don't get me wrong, but it's not what firemaking needed. What firemaking needed was a way to actually integrate itself into the wider game, like it does with Shades of Morton. Cooking is the most obvious example of skill integration we can work on for firemaking. Now, obviously it's already integrated, like you can cook your food on a fire, no problem. However, you wouldn't actually choose to do this 99.9% of the time. Right now, if you cook on a range or a stove, you have a reduced burn chance, okay? And then there's the one in Karen that's even better reduced burn chance. Why would you ever use a fire over those? Can we maybe, and hopefully there's like a JMod listening or this can be shared with them, can we appeal a little bit to the fantasy of the game and maybe allow cooking on fires to be better than cooking on ranges? Like, would that be too much to ask? You can even work it in a way that like every log that you have working its way up has better and better cooking abilities. Like you burn less on each one. So I actually get rewarded when I burn, my redwoods, and I'm not burning as much food on it, okay? But it doesn't even have to be burn related, right? Because the thing with burning is once you get your cooking cape, you never really burn anything again. And even that, when you're reaching certain levels, you stop burning things anyway. So maybe it's not burn related. Maybe instead we can have it so that maybe cooking on an open flame can speed up the cooking process, right? It allows us to cook food more quickly. You can even nerf the amount of XP you're getting from cooking the food to compensate for that increased output, right? But that alone right there would give me a reason to level up firemaking and would give me a reason to burn my logs. It doesn't have to stop at cooking either. I think another really good candidate for integration is herb lore. Maybe we have the ability to brew potions in a cauldron or something using our firemaking skills and our logs to speed up the process of making potions. It can even, once again, cut the XP. I personally would love this. As a late game Ironman who doesn't need the XP but would love to make potions quicker, this would be a game changer for me to get these. Look how many unmade potions I have. I would love to be able to make more. I also think in the future, sailing is a skill that could really integrate a little bit of firemaking, particularly as it pertains to firing the cannons. Maybe the best cannon in the game requires you to have 90 smithing and 80 sailing to make it, but maybe it also requires 95 firemaking to fire the best cannonballs, or use the best, gunpowder, or maybe there's an 85 firemaking level where you're using slightly less impressive components, but still pretty potent. The possibilities for this skill to integrate with stuff like that, with sailing, with cooking, with herb lore, and to integrate with the rest of the world like it does with Shades of Morton, it's there. We just need to be a little bit more creative and focused. The main point I want to drive here isn't that firemaking is the worst skill because of its training methods. It's actually okay when it comes to training it. It's bad because it has virtually zero use cases long-term in someone's account. Firemaking's next update shouldn't be what past updates have been, shouldn't be other training methods. What we need to give it is an actual reason for us to level it and use our logs.